Alright YouTube, here's another video. My name is Tom. I own Buxton Luxury Auto Sales in Fate, Texas. The luxury part is a little bit of a misnomer. That was the name I started with. Now I really just sell everyman vehicles. And a lot of those vehicles, because I don't really like car dealers, I buy from individuals. A lot of them are no title cars, and I end up doing bonded titles in the process. I've probably done 100, maybe 200, haven't actually counted, just guesstimating bonded titles, and only ever had one that went bad. There's a video on that you can go back and look at. I previously have recorded a bonded title video, and it's been one of my most popular videos, and it's had 300 and some comments and questions, and that sort of taught me that there were some things I should have clarified or mentioned or done better in that first video. So here is the second video, the sequel to bonded titles, where I'm going to run through the whole process again, and I've made some clarifying statements in my script. If you've already watched that video is perfectly good. It stands on its own. If you've never seen that video, you can go back and watch it if you want. This video and that video have the same information. The policies and procedures haven't changed. I have just clarified some of the things that maybe I could have clarified a little bit better. So why would you need to buy a bonded title? Well, in this day and age of the computer and internet buying, the most common story I hear is, hey, I bought this car on Craigslist or Marketplace, and the fellow was supposed to give me the title tomorrow and he never did, and now I can't find him. That's probably 75% of the bonded titles out there. Somebody got scammed, there wasn't a title. Maybe the person had put a title loan on the car. Maybe the person had just straight up lost it, whatever it was. So you never hear from them again. The next one is, I hate to say it like this, but I will. You're not very responsible. You bought a car online from someone, and they gave you the title, and then you moved. And before you got the title into your name, you lost the title that was in their name. So you can't just file for a duplicate title, and now you don't know how to find that person. So yeah, you probably need a bonded title. Then a small percentage of them are, grandma passed away 5 years ago, nobody probated the will, we bought it from the tote your note lot, the lot's been out of business 3 years. So that's a way to get it done. The bonded title is not a way to get your 2023 Toyota that you just bought from the lot and go get a bonded title on it and think that you don't owe the money anymore. That's not what it's about. In fact, if a vehicle has a lien that is less than 10 years old, that could cause a problem on your bonded title. It is up to your bondsman to figure out if that lien is valid or not. So let's get started. The first thing I would recommend if you're buying a car that has no title is I would call your regional DMV office. And they can't give you a lot of information, but what they can tell you, and there's two questions you would ask. Hey, I want to buy this car, it has no title. One, can I confirm that it is not listed stolen? They will do that. Two, can you confirm there is not a lien less than 10 years old? They will tell you if there is a lien less than 10 years old or not. They will not tell you who the lien holder is. They won't tell you whose name the car is registered in, but they will give you those two yes/no questions. So if you're buying this car, you can get it done. If you don't want to call them, or you want more specific information like how old is the lien, who is the lien holder, whatnot, the form that you want is right here. It's a Texas request for motor vehicle information. I've put a link in my description so you can just read the script later on, hit the link, download this form. It'll cost you $2 as long as you have the VIN number. You'll put the VIN number in the form. You'll have to provide your identification. They'll want to know why you want this. And on the back page, there's a second page to this. It lists all the reasons. You're going to be doing it as use in normal course of business by a legitimate business or authorized agent. So you'll mark that box, you'll mark registration only. For $2, they'll give you the printout copy of the registration. You'll see who the legal owner is. You'll see if there is a lien present on the vehicle in real time. and you'll be able to know if you want to proceed under bonded title. Now, when I say a lien in real time, there's a misnomer, and that is that if people say they had a car, the car was 15 years old, they bought it from Ford, they paid it off 5 years ago, and then they lost their title. They will typically say there's no lien on the car. But the reality is, if you didn't take that title with the release of lien back to the county, pay $33, and have that lien removed, the state has no way to know that that lien has been cleared. So that's something to be aware of, okay? It can still show a lien even though the lien was paid if the person never took their title back to the county and got a new title once the lien was paid. A lot of people, they just, store their title somewhere. It shows the release lien on the front of the title, so they're not worried about it. But then when they lose it, or they move, or someone else gets it, that's where the problem comes in. Anyway, that one is VTR 275 in my link below. So you fill that out, you know who the person is that's the legal owner of the vehicle. That's just information. That is sort of separate from the bonded title. The next one you need is VTR 130 SOF, bonded title or tax assessor hearing. Well, it's going to be a bonded title. So, a long story short, this form straightforward. Information about the vehicle, information about you, and where did you buy the vehicle. How come there is no title? You'll write in whatever it is. Buyer said he'd get me a title, never did. Buyer said title got lost in a fire, whatever. You just write that in. Then there are 15 questions that you'll need to answer. And they're straightforward. One, the biggest one is you have to be a Texas resident. This bonded title process works for Texas vehicles by Texas residents. The vehicle has to be here if it was from out of state. You can't say, I live in Oklahoma, but I have an uncle that has a Texas address. I want to get a Texas bonded title. No, that car has to be here in Texas to get this done if it has an out of state title. All right, and then you will sign down at the bottom. You will also include a copy of your bill of sale. Always, 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 if you're buying a car with no title, get a bill of sale that lists the sale date and the vehicle VIN number and who you bought it from, and get a copy of their ID. And I just straight up tell people, this is a requirement for me. I'm a dealer. I require a bill of sale and an ID. An honest person gets this, understands it, and it's not a big deal. A con, a thief, shady guy is not going to want you to know who he is because he doesn't want it coming back on him. I've done, again, 1 to 200 bonded titles. I had one vehicle months after I bought it and already had a title in my name and already sold it to a customer get reported stolen. And while it sucked, the customer got paid from the bond. I owe the bond company. The customer had to go to a court hearing to discuss if he was keeping the vehicle or the person that had a claim against it was keeping the vehicle. But there were no criminal charges. Obviously, there's no criminal charges against my customer. He bought it from a bonded dealer. We had a title in our hand. There were no charges for me. Why? Because when I bought the car, I had a signed bill of sale and a photocopy of the people's ID. And it is not illegal to get stolen property in Texas. That's a misnomer. People think, they see it on TV, oh, it's receiving stolen property, blah, blah, blah. No. If you don't know that it is stolen, it is not against the law. So while the car was not reported stolen until after I bought it and got my title work done, it in fact was a stolen vehicle. But because we had our bill of sale and a copy of their ID for them to know who to go look to, no problems. A little bit of a headache civilly, but didn't go to jail, never got arrested. The police asked their questions, I provided their documents, and that was the end of that. Anyway, you're gonna fill this form out. You're then going to take this form either in person or by mail along with that bill of sale and a copy of that person's ID that you bought it from, and a copy of your ID, and a check or money order for $15 to your regional DMV office. I want to stress that the Regional Texas Department of Motor Vehicles office only does duplicate titles, heavy truck work, and things like that. It is not the same office where you renew your license plate at. That is your local county tax assessor's office. So you are going to your DMV regional office, or you can mail it to a DMV regional office. They will mail you back a form and take your $15. Process is the same. The difference is mail, it just takes, I'd say usually 3 weeks when you mail it to them. You mail that up there to them. You get it back in your hot little hand, or you get it back in the mail. It will either tell you that you have not completed the form properly. It will be highlighted. They'll tell you what you need to do. Or it will come back with information filled out that, there's evidence that there's other owners. They've alerted these owners, and that you can get this vehicle titled with a bond amount of, and it's going to say whatever it is. The bond amount is set at 1.5 times the Texas presumptive value. Texas presumptive value is they take all the cars with that VIN number, they have some math formula based on what those cars have sold for and mileage and things, and they come up with a presumptive value. So if your 1996 Honda Accord might have a presumptive value of $1,000. So the bond is 1.5 times that $1,000, so you need a $1,500 bond. Now, what you need to remember is you're buying a bond. You're not paying $1,500. You're buying a bond that will cover $1,500. So you take that big packet that you have and start dialing around to insurance bond companies. Okay, most insurance companies will write vehicle security bonds, and you need to call around a little, because the bond itself is generally not too expensive. I think the most expensive bond I've ever bought was like $150, and that was on a pretty decent car. However, a lot of insurance companies, because there's no money in these bonds, charge a service fee, which could be another $100. So just call around a little bit and find out. I have a great insurance guy. He has all my business. Unfortunately, he doesn't really want me sharing him with all of you. And I understand that, a lot of the bonds are $55 or $75. Well, that's really not worth him stopping what he's doing in his business to write. But he writes them for me because I'm a good customer. There are companies out there that's all they do is surety bonds. Google it in your local area, call 3 or 4 of them, tell them the presumptive value. They can tell you what it's going to cost to write that bond. So you go in, you will write that bond. It takes 20 minutes or something. Pay them, and now you have the big packet you started with, plus the surety bond, which is another 3 or 4 pages, and you're going to need the last one, the application for title, Texas 130U. This is where you fill out the information to get the title put into your name. It's pretty straightforward. Up at the top, are we doing title only or title and registration? Then it wants to know about the vehicle, the VIN number, all that fun stuff. Then it wants your information, who you are, where you live, where the vehicle's going to stay. Then it wants to know what you paid for the vehicle. And then it wants the signature at the bottom, and it's going to tell you what the tax is. So all of that then goes to your county tax assessor. Okay? They will take that big packet of stuff. They will probably go and ask somebody else that's been at the office longer to help them, and they will type. And at the end, spit out your tax, title, and license that you need to pay. They will give you your license plates. And usually in a month to a month and a half, you will get your title in the mail. When your title in the mail comes, it will look like everybody else's title. It'll be blue, have your name, your VIN number, all that. But under remarks, where maybe you've seen it say exempt, or if you've done rebuilt titles, it said rebuilt, you will see it say bonded, okay? If you're keeping this car forever, say it was a 1965 Mustang and hadn't been on the road in 20 years, you've bought it, you love it, you've got it titled in your name and it's bonded, after 3 years, you can go back to your county tax assessor, pay another $33, and that bond amount will fall off and that title will no longer be branded as a bonded title, if that matters to you. Another thing we need to think about is there is a hold time after you do the bonded title process. And that is because when you go to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles, they issue the letter that says, so-and-so, if you have an interest in this vehicle, you have 10 days to let us know. What that means is when you've done that application, paid your $15, they're sending a letter to the legal registered owner and any registered lien holder that you would have found out about on your request for motor vehicle information. They're sending them a letter that's letting them know that you are trying to title their vehicle. And if they have an interest in the vehicle, i.e. the lien is still valid, the guy dirtbagged on them, they're trying to get the car back, they need to contact the state. And in that case, you will get denied your title. Also, if a year from now somebody finds out that you have that car and that car was stolen or whatever and there's a problem, before you lose the car or pay money, it takes a court order. It takes a civil process where you go to court, hey, this is my car, I bought it from this person, I did the bonded title process, I've received my title. If the judge finds that that person was wronged, meaning the person with the complaint, you gotta pay. And if you can't pay, which most people cannot, that bonding company will pay. However, it's not free money to you. They will want you to pay them back. And that's something that people need to remember when they're doing these bonded titles, guys. It is not free money. There is in my case, a 1 in 100 or 1 in 200% chance that you got to pay. That's just the way it is. So that's that. Bonded title, simple and sweet. But what if the car has never been registered in Texas before? And this is the part that adds an extra step. Had you bought this car and it was last registered in, I don't know, South Dakota, there is no Texas record of this car. So what happens then is they will still give you a letter telling you how much your bond needs to be, and you will have to buy your bond. But what they want to make sure of is that the VIN number matches the vehicle and that the VIN number is correct in all the places it's supposed to be. And what it requires is what they call a 68A VIN inspection. These inspections can only be done by a certified law enforcement officer who is a full-time auto theft task force member. So, what does that mean? In some communities, there are auto theft task force officers that will do these for you as their side hustle, charge you $50. Here in Dallas, we have the Dallas County Regional Task Force, but I can tell you that they're pretty backed up. It takes about 2 months to get an appointment with them. What I've been doing, believe it or not, is sending my guy all the way to Tyler to the East Texas Auto Theft Task Force because they meet once a week and they'll do it for you. So if you're bringing a car from another state, never registered in Texas, before you submit your paperwork to the county, before you can submit your paperwork to the state to get your letter, you need to get the 68A VIN inspection. As I think about what I've said, I think initially I said you'll still get your letter from the Texas DMV, but you'll have to get a 68A. That, if I said it, was wrong. You will need to get your 68A VIN inspection before you take your packet to your state Department of Motor Vehicles Regional Service Center. I hope that helps. I hope this is clarifying for you. I'm going to put links for all of these forms in the description. And if you have questions, I will put an email address. Email is best. As few subscribers as I have, believe it or not, I get calls every single day with questions about one of my videos or something. And I'm okay with helping people out. That's not the problem. It just always seems to come in an inopportune time. So you can leave a comment down below. I try to check those every day or 2 or 3. Just depends on how busy I am. You can shoot me an email and I will respond as quickly as I can, probably again a day or 2 or 3. And this should be good and able to get you your bonded title in Texas. Once again, you got to be a Texas resident. The vehicle has to be here. You can't go buy a car that's 3 years old that you have a lien on and think you're going to get your buddy to get a bonded title. Bonded titles are for legitimate reasons where titles were lost and you need to get the car back on the road. I appreciate y'all watching this video. I hope I answered all your questions. I think you're lined out now. You should be able to do it. The first one is scary and it feels like a lot, but let me tell you, after you do about 10 of them, they go really quick. So whether you want one or this is going to be part of your business model as a used car dealer, just remember, the bond is not free money. You might have to pay if things go bad. So make good choices. Get that person's identification. Get a written bill of sale. If it seems too good to be true or they're crackheads, you probably want to stay away from them. It can come back and bite you in the ass. I appreciate y'all watching, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.